On this day of June 5th, 1944, the weather was terrible, greatly concerning the Allied Supreme Command, not knowing if the weather would actually lift on the 6th had been predicted, and crates of Pepto-Bismol was distributed all round. There was a confident or a deliberate gamble that the 6th would work out, as the weather would clear. Convoys departed South England starting late June 4th and early June 5th, with 6,939 vessels, 1,213 warships, and 4,162 landing crafts, now heading for Normandy. Troops like the U.S. 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions boarded their C-47s for midnight drops. Bombers and ground attack aircrafts were being armed and fueled. The Mulberry Harbor's towing began, with caissons and blockships crossing the canal. Pluto was ready for post-invasion deployment. Operation Fortitude continued, ensuring the German focus on Calais. Fake radio traffic and double agent reports peaked. The BBC would broadcast the last lines of the Verlaine poem, Bless mon cœur, signaling the D-Day invasion to the French resistance, and nearly 1,000 acts of sabotage would follow. Railways were cut, telegraph disruptions would begin overnight. The final reconnaissance flights confirmed the German positions, with no changes detected, and Rommel was far away by now. At 4:30 a.m., Eisenhower confirmed June 6th as D-Day, after Staggs predicted a brief weather window, calmer seas. His decision was made and signaled with his famous words, "Okay, let's go," to the greatest sigh the world has ever heard. The sealed orders were now opened by junior officers, revealing beach assignments. Montgomery briefed ground commanders, while Ramsey and Lee Mallory issued the final naval and air orders. Operation Tonga, the British Airborne, and Operation Albany Chicago, the U.S. Airborne, was set for midnight, with pathfinders to mark drop zones. However, it would play out that many of these would be scattered by drops in winds and conditions. Troops on ships received their final briefings, studying sand tables and maps of Normandy beaches. Airborne units loaded their equipment, including the Eureka beacon finders for the pathfinders. Allied air forces now began their pre-invasion bombardment, with 5,000 tons of bombs dropped on coastal defenses started late June 5th. All the positions we will be looking at were bombed, but generally with very little actual effect. All were combat ready and functioning on the morning of June 6th. Meanwhile, on the other side of the water, the 7th Armies remained static. With no major redeployments, the 352nd Infantry Division was still near Omaha Beach, and the 21st Panzer Division was still inland far away. Rommel was in Germany, unaware of the invasion's start. His absence is claimed to be one of the reasons for the slow or delayed response in Normandy. However, I do not subscribe to that theory, as all the German officers and commanders in place were fully aware of what their duty was when and if that day came. For the fortifications, final mine-laying and obstacle placements occurred, but many defenses remained incomplete. The Melville Battery was operational, but targeted by Allied planes, as was Point du Hoc, where one of the remaining gun crews were having a drinking night in their bunker, leaving them drunk and rather incapable or unwilling to fighting the next morning, much to the anger of their commanders in the command bunker at the point of Point du Hoc. The Verlaine poem broadcast was intercepted by the German intelligence, but not fully understanding the signal. No invasion alert was raised, as weather and fortitude deception maintained the German focus on Calais. Luftwaffe sorties were negligible. Kriegsmarine patrols reported no Allied ships until late June 5th. Routine orders continued, with no escalation. Ornstedt and Dolman maintained their standard operations, seeing no immediate threat. hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel, liking, follows, and maybe even join me on Patreon to help out. I am just a guy, a historian, traveling around all these historic places in Europe on my own dime, trying to bring them to you.